This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
Atheists, agnostics, long-haired weirdos, short-haired weirdos, vandals, hooligans.
The government, hug the government, love the government, hug the government, love the government, hug the government.
Welcome to The Politics Guys, a place for bipartisan, rational, and civil debate on American politics and policy. I'm Northern Kentucky University political scientist Michael Baranowski. I'm joined today by my conservative counterpart, Cleveland area attorney and defender of freedom, Jay Carson.
Hey, good morning, Mike.
Hey, Jay. So, as usual, we had a lot of stuff. I assumed we were going to spend a lot of time talking about the assassination attempt on Donald Trump because, I mean, my God, that's a pretty shocking and big sort of thing with a lot of ramifications. But there were a lot of things we didn't get a chance to get to because of that. And I wanted to start. We talked in the weekend show that came out on Saturday. This is going to come out on Sunday about the Republican convention. I want to talk a little bit about the Democratic convention to open up things today, because, of course, the Democrats, they're going to have a convention August 19th through the 22nd, but the plan...
They're going to nominate somebody.
Well, at least the plan as of now is to actually do a nominee. Yes. Virtual nomination during the first week of August. And the initial reason for this had to do with the great state of Ohio, our state, Jay's, yours and mine, because initially Ohio had a law that required that the state's ballot be certified by August 7th. And so there was concern that, well, if that was the case, the convention was held on the 19th or the 22nd, then Joe Biden wouldn't be on the ballot in Ohio. And of course, that wouldn't matter for the presidential election because, I mean, Donald Trump's going to win Ohio. But it could matter for, I don't know, Sherrod Brown might have a problem with that, but maybe not actually. It might actually be better.
Not anymore.
Yeah, exactly, for Ohio Democrats if Joe Biden's not on the ballot. But in any case, so Ohio changed their law, and so now they have until August 31st. But the Democrats are still going forward.
Which was mighty understanding of us, of Ohio. I have my thoughts on that, but go ahead.
Well, we'll get into that. But the Democrats are still going forward with this virtual thing. And I think while they're saying, the DNC, muck-de-mucks are saying that, well, there's still the possibility that Ohio, there could be a lawsuit. It's unclear. It seems most people think that this is simply being done to get Joe Biden nominated as quickly as possible and move on from this. I mean, that's what DNC Chair Jamie Harrison said, and a lot of people just aren't really buying that, even in the Democratic Party. And they're, of course, the very fact that they were planning on doing even earlier than the first week in August, but there was a lot of pushback from top Democrats, including Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and they did move it to that, move it back to a week, to the first week of August there. So, Jay, you said you had some thoughts on, let's talk about the Ohio issue first off, since you had some thoughts about that, and then generally about what we think about the Democrats trying to sort of push through a nomination here.
No, my thoughts are sort of brief, and they're probably more directed to my fellow Ohioans than anyone else. But when this came up, right, Ohio's had this law in the books for a while, but it's a racially neutral thing about the dates you have to have your nominee in. There was this pushback of, oh my God, we have to change this because otherwise it'll be difficult for Joe Biden to be on the Ohio ballot. And in this case, my reaction was, look, the Democrats are making a strategic decision to hold their convention much later than the Republican convention. And look, Biden knows, everybody knew the rules going in, but everyone was shocked that Ohio had this law. And then, demanded that Ohio's Republican legislature and its Republican governor change that law, which there was some pushback saying, okay, yeah, we'll change it, but we want to have we want to attach some strings about accepting foreign money, and then there was wailing and gnashing of teeth over that. Setting aside whether that was a good substantive statute or a step, the foreign money thing, I think, was the way it was drafted. There are a whole bunch of problems there, but that's a separate issue. My point is, if the shoe were on the other foot, would any blue state have done this
Yes.
for Donald Trump? You think so?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just like Colorado did, trying to throw him off the ballot for being an insurrectionist?
That was,
or like the Secretary of State of Maine did?
That's a different issue.
I would say
no one's saying that Joe Biden is no one's saying that Joe Biden is
ahead, here's the rules, here's the deadlines.
No,
and you decided, well, it shouldn't apply to me because I don't want them to.
It's a different situation because no one is saying that Joe Biden is constitutionally ineligible for the office.
Right. But you're ineligible to be on the ballot if you don't meet the deadlines.
Right, but I think you're conflating some things out of your dislike for the Democrats and your belief that they are somehow morally inferior to Republicans, and I just challenge that.
I'm not saying morally inferior. I'm saying
it sounds like
they play to win, and so often Republicans don't.
See, that's just wrong.
That's my point.
Yeah, and I think
now here. So what I'm saying is now here we are. Because the thought was, well, look, what does it matter? Let's just change the law. What does it matter? Biden's the nominee anyway. We want to make sure everybody is enfranchised and so forth, which is the right instinct, right? But now Republicans are in a situation of, hey, we get to pick our own nominee much later than anyone else. And thanks, Ohio. My point is, I don't believe if the shoe were on the other foot, Democratic.
Yeah, no, I get it.
A blue state would make the same accommodation. They would say, sorry, Trump, you knew the rules, you knew the deadlines, you chose to have your convention after the deadlines. You have to live with the consequences.
Yeah, I think maybe
I'm just leaving it there.
I think you got maybe a little bit of what one of our Discord folks now is calling DDS, Democrat Derangement Syndrome. But that's okay. I think you only have a mild case, but I get it. So I disagree with you on that. But of course, there's no way to, that's that kind of whataboutism, sort of theoretical, hypothetical whataboutism. There's no way to know, but we'll just have to. Again,
my counterexample would be Colorado.
Right. And I'm saying that example is not a good
and
one.
I would say, yes, it counts even less because that is sort of a untried theory based on some facts that may or may not have actually been found. Whereas this would be just a plain, did you meet the filing deadline?
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
I get it. I mean, partisans on both sides have a tendency to say, well, we're really a lot better. And if only we would just fight harder and do all the awful things the other side does. But they have these advantages because they're willing to play dirty in a way that we're not. And I think that is just so, I think, Jay, that you're a smart guy, but that is very blinkered and very naive of you. But that again, there's no way for me to, demonstrate that, sort of walk through that. But I think that's just, like I said, very blinkered and naive of you. So there we go. So, but moving on to that vote. I mean, I certainly have a problem with that. But then again, the National Committee tends to be the president or the nominees committee, just like we saw with the RNC is definitely doing the bidding of Donald Trump, even getting family members involved. And so you would kind of expect that, certainly. But I also think that there's a reasonable strategic argument on the Democrat side from this. If the folks in the DNC and the Biden folks are saying, listen, I'm not going to step down, this isn't going to happen, then the smart move is to get this done with as soon as possible, because every week that the big money donors are withholding their funds, and that's really, kind of the huge thing, is another week that an already weak candidate has less of to make up ground. So I get the impulse. I think it is a bad one, certainly. Although if I'm Donald Trump and I'm the Republicans, I'm saying, yeah, nominate the guy quickly. However you get him past the finish line. I don't know if you haven't care if you carry him, but yeah, we want to run against Joe Biden. You want to run against Joe Biden, right?
Yeah. I think so.
And I think that's why now something like 37 or so, congressional Democrats have said, hey, it's time for him to go. And, there's been so much talk about this. And of course, the White House has steadfastly said that, no, he's not thinking about it. There's just no way. His back is up. He's pissed off, right? He's hurt and angered at Barack Obama, who has said a lot by not saying enough, and Nancy Pelosi, who he feels like is pulling a lot of strings behind the scenes and some not behind the scenes. And so I think certainly there's a concerted effort to try to weaken his campaign to the point through all of these pushes to get out in an orchestrated series of leaks to make it seem like it's not just a matter of if, but when. And I can see that backfiring spectacularly. I know that a lot of people now on my side of things are, I think, maybe hopeful that this, in fact, is they feel this momentum. But I would suggest that we don't know that this is actual momentum, because what it all comes down to is Joe Biden's and his inner circle's frame of mind. And we don't have any good information on that. And so I would say be wary of people who are saying it's inevitable, because they're trying to, I think, more to get Joe Biden and company to believe that it's inevitable. And I don't know if that's really the case. I don't know what your take on that is.
My take is that when this ship goes down, they want to say, don't blame me. I told you to replace Biden.
Yeah, well, yeah, I certainly agree. That's why we're starting to see, you saw a few people come out, and now there's much more of a flood of people. But again, I don't know that it's going to be enough to get him to say, you know what? No, I think I'll step down. I think he has enough people around him to convince him that, no, he has as good a shot as any other Democrat. And there's enough ways you can sort of massage the polling to sort of say that. I don't buy it for a minute. But, this is a guy who, as you pointed out last week, he's been running for president for, 40 years at this point, right? This has been the dream of his life. And giving that up, I think he's going to look really hard for every reason to stay in the race. And so while I certainly hope that he does do what I believe to be the right thing, I don't think it's nearly as certain as a lot of pundits, a lot of folks in the Democratic Party seem to think.
So a couple weeks ago, I would have said he stays in till the end. Now I'm of a different mind. I think there is enough momentum that it's difficult to turn back, and I think he will end up stepping aside. Right,
but again, you see my point, right? Is that I think the Biden viewpoint is, listen, this is really a tough period, but once he's the nominee, there's not going to be any other choice, and everyone's going to close ranks. And sure, Donald Trump is ahead in all 7 of the states of the battleground states. But hey, the margins in the 3 of them are not too bad. The margins in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, they're not all that bad. And we get those 3 and we get one of those votes in Nebraska because they have that different system. Hey, we're at 270. And that's our path. That's totally doable. The race is going to tighten toward the end as we remind more people about what Donald Trump is like, Captain Chaos, all that sort of thing. I think that's the story they're telling. And Joe Biden desperately wants to believe that story. And so while I certainly hope you're right, I don't necessarily have the sort of confidence that a lot of people on the left do that you are right. We hope you enjoyed this preview of our supporters exclusive midweek show. If you'd like to hear the rest of the episode, we hope you'll consider becoming a supporter. Supporters get ad-free access to all of our shows, membership in our Politics Guys Discord group where you can join in on the conversation, and other benefits at different levels of support. To become a supporter, go to patreon.com/politicsguys. You can also support us through Venmo or @politicsguys or through PayPal. You'll find all of our support links in the show notes as well as at politicsguys.com/support. And if you'd like to get the midweek show, but you're not in a position to become a financial supporter, that's not a problem. Just send me an email at mike@politicsguys.com and I'll be happy to get that set up for you.
This podcast is part of the Democracy Group,